Welcome, everybody. It's terrific seeing this kind of a crowd on Zoom. It's an amazing turnout and much appreciated. I'm Irv Belzer, past president of the Jewish Community Foundation, and my wife Sue and I are the honorary chairs, and we're sure pleased to do it, of tonight's event. We're glad to welcome you to the Foundation's 62nd annual meeting and installation of officers and trustees.
It's wonderful to see so many friends and members of our foundation family here tonight. Though we look forward to being back together in person, hopefully very soon, we're grateful for the opportunity to convene virtually to celebrate yet another remarkable year.
The theme of this year's annual meeting is the power of kindness. Tonight, we will honor one of our community's kindest, most capable, and respected leaders, our outgoing president, Alice Jacks Ochtenberg. Alice's thoughtful guidance and steadfast dedication to the foundation and to our community has been invaluable, especially during the unprecedented challenges of the past 2 years. Alice has the unique ability to listen to multiple points of view and aptly make decisions that make people feel understood and valued. Her remarkable intelligence, breadth of experience, and warm, engaging leadership style have been a gift to our organization. Alice shows us just how powerful kindness can be and how leading from a place of compassion and generosity can make a strong, effective leader.
And now, to give our Devar Torah, we'd like to welcome Alice's Melton teacher, Marla Brockman, who is not only wise and thoughtful, but makes learning a joy.
Thank you, Sue and Irv. In this week's Torah reading, Vayechi, we come to the end of the book of Breshit, Genesis. As we have seen multiple times before, children are brought to their elders to receive a blessing, and the younger one receives the birthright blessing before the elder. Yosef brings his children Manasseh and Ephraim to their grandfather Yisrael and places them in front of him in birth order. At the last second, Yisrael switches his hands and blesses Ephraim, the younger one, first, followed by Manasseh, the eldest, secondly. In chapter 48, verse 20, we read, "By you shall all of Israel invoke blessings, saying, God, make you like Ephraim and Manasseh." Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Why does he switch the order? Why does Jacob say that Jews should ask God to bless their children by making them like Ephraim and like Manasseh? Why these kids? We know very little about them. They do not seem to be particularly extraordinary. Granted, they're Jewish kids, so of course they're extraordinary, but there is nothing special about them in the Torah. There are no further stories at all about these children. So why would we want our children to be like them? The Torah does not appear to give us an explicit reason. As you may imagine, there have been many commentaries written over this interesting switch in the order of the blessing. In the end, most commentators agree that there isn't a singular reason, and what we are to take with us is that each of these children are to be loved and cared for simply for having been born B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God. I believe that it is exactly because there is nothing else written about them that we make them the model for the blessing. What better blessing could there be for us? In 1990, Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville recorded a song, "Don't Know Much." And the chorus of the song is, "Don't know much, but I know I love you, and that may be all I need to know." Our Torah reading of Vayechi and the mission of the Jewish Community Foundation point us in the direction of this blessing. JCF is here to continually reach out in love to care for the needs of the Jewish and general community. The board chair we honor this evening, Alice Jacks Achtenberg, was clearly taught this lesson from her mother, Brunya, and embodies its teaching in all she does. Her entire presidency, even as the world closed up during a pandemic, propelled the work of this board to continue to lead with love. The good news is that your incoming board chair, Frank Lipsman, was taught the very same thing from his mother, Zeldine. At the very end of this week's Parsha, we read in chapter 50, verse 20, God intended it for good in order to accomplish what is now the case, to keep alive a numerous people. Blessed are you, parent of all humanity, who are all created in your image. Partner with us to lead with love. And let us all say,
it was lovely. Irv's mom, Myra, Sue's mom. I think all of us are very lucky to have mothers who have done that for us. May their memories be a blessing for all of us. As was mentioned, the theme of this year's annual meeting is Power of Kindness. As is written in the compilation of ethical teachings known as the Pirkei Avot, the wisdom of the fathers, Shimon the righteous says, the world stands on three things: on Torah, avodah, service, and gimliut chasadim, acts of loving kindness. That kindness is reflected in the people who are the heart of all the foundation is. We've been fortunate over the decades to have strong leadership, and I would like to acknowledge the current group of committee chairs whose commitment, creative skill, and energy contributed to all our successes over the last year. They, among others, deserve recognition. Irv Belzer, nominating; Susan Himmelstein, programs; Linda Lyon, grants; Edward Goldstein, administrative; Vic Bergman, gift acceptance; Martha Gershon, marketing; Scott Picker, audit; Brian Scharf, investments; and Alana Mueller, strategic planning. I'd also like to acknowledge our wonderful wonderful treasurer, Bob Palin, and thanks to the other officers, board members, and our life trustees, all of whom have given generously of their time, energy, and ideas. For that, we are very grateful. These lay leaders work shoulder to shoulder with our outstanding staff, and I would also like to recognize them. Would you please wave as I call your name? Antoinette Stark, Antoinette Wells, B. Fine, Brooke Hardy, Josh Stein, Kevin Taylor, Liz Matthews, Roberta Galler, and Tracy Holly. I will tell you a little more about all of them as the evening progresses. We are indebted to you and Lauren's leadership for all the foundation accomplishes.
Through the hard work and resilience of our staff and with the strong support of our board, the foundation successfully continued remote operations in 2021. We had no idea that we'd still be here with you on Zoom when we planned for our return to in-person operations in August, but here we are. I can't tell you how proud I am of how we've thrived. With very few exceptions, our operations were executed seamlessly with the use of technologies like Zoom, ACH transfers, and increased use of Donor Central and our website. The feedback we've gotten from individual fund advisors and our organizational partners has been tremendous. And we have had an incredibly successful year in developing resources for our community. Through November, foundation assets stand at $284 million. Having much of the COVID-related distributions behind us, the foundation had more of a normal year in terms of distributions, sending about $19 million out to nonprofits in total so far. Donor fund advisors and the governing committees of the foundation's Community Legacy Fund and family supporting foundations have already granted nearly $13.1 million to 4,200 separate grants, though I know this week alone, it seemed like there was another 1,000 on top of that. And we're impacting probably up to over 1,000 unique charities. Of the total amount distributed through November, 74% has been distributed to Jewish organizations, and 91% of that money was given locally. Our reach into the general community has really grown, and we continue to support every Jewish organization from Topeka to St. Joe.
Activity in our continuum of giving programs was strong this year. The Jewish Community Foundation's award-winning philanthropic programming heated up the spring and summer with several virtual and in-person events. The 15th annual B'nai Zedek Shuk, JCF's Youth Philanthropy Fair, took place on April 22nd. The Shuk connected teen philanthropists with Jewish community organizations for an evening of education, engagement, and fun. Due to COVID-19, the event was adapted to a virtual format where teens and their parents could log on to watch videos contributed by community organizations, participate in a live drawing, and raffle for fun prizes. Zoom with the B'nai Zedek Youth Council, a cadre of teens that work together to plan the event and make their annual grants online. Dozens of teens and their parents participated in the event, and B'nai Zedek fund owners donated more than $3,000 to community organizations that evening. These are kids who are about 13, 14, and 15, so it's a wonderful mitzvah.
J-Lead, JCF's Giving Circle for adults in their 20s, 30s, and 40s granted $22,000 in support of 7 important community programs. The group met virtually in April to hear presentations from agencies seeking funding and to learn how their support could make an impact. After robust dialogue and thoughtful conversation, the group made their granting decisions by electronic ballot. The Giving Circle voted to fund the following programs in 2021: Gan Chabad Torah Center, Kosher Meals on Wheels, JCRB AJC School Education Initiatives, Jewish Family Services, Kesher, KC Farmers Market, Jewish Federation's Chesed, Indigent Burial Fund.
It's being close to me, it does it every time.
Jewish Vocational Service Emergency Assistance, KU Hillel Wellness Initiative, Mitzvah Garden KC Seeds and Plants. Special thanks go to Lindsay Feynman as she concludes her stint as chair of the J-Lead Steering Committee. Her energy and enthusiasm for the program and the community, coupled with her outstanding leadership, inspired its continued success during challenging times. We are lucky to have Louis Stein and Chris Zeid as co-chairs to take up the mantle from Lindsay next year.
JCF's Created Jewish Legacy program hosted the latest installment of its popular parking lot lunch series in June. Get this, it was an in-person event. JCF's first in more than a year brought together communal leadership in HBHA's Dan Fingerish Garden to reconnect, network, and share positive personal and professional outcomes of the pandemic. Participants shared wonderful anecdotes about the generosity of the community and the resilience and strength of communal partnerships. The gathering was an inspiring reflection of the Foundation's role in helping bring the community together to create a brighter future through planned giving efforts.
Thanks to the generosity of the Sam and Lucy Gould Fund, the Foundation's Legacy Giving Day was held on November 11th with dozens of representatives from 14 different nonprofits gathering to learn from our outstanding presenter, Nanette Friedman. Nanette spoke about energizing legacy giving programs and integrated fundraising, which was especially timely as so many of our organizations have realized centrality of legacy giving to their organization's sustainability. I'm sure that you all will be hearing more about that than ever in the coming year.
Another highlight of our programming was our Happy News Day. we did this around Rosh Hashanah, and the event was so that many of us joined us on Zoom to share the good news you were looking forward to in 5782. It was wonderful to hear about new grandchildren, milestone birthdays, engagements, family trips. Through this emphasis on collective positivity, we found connection with the community.
We also celebrated the high holidays by gifting special baskets of apples and honey to our professional advisors and nonprofit friends. Staff and volunteers delivered nearly 100 baskets in appreciation of these valuable partnerships. The project was generously funded by the Sanford L. Cohen Family Foundation in loving memory of Sanford and Barbara Cohen. The new year also brought our reimagined donor advice fund initiative called the Fund Your Favorite Match. Through this incentive, the foundation will match one grant of the new fund holder's choice to any nonprofit, Jewish or secular, up to $1,000. The marketing for Fund Your Favorite has been very well received, and the match has already been a motivating force in the opening of several new funds.
As she often does,
Okay, now.
Lauren represented the foundation and the general community. This year is the featured presenter at the annual Mid-America Charitable Gift Planners Building Blocks of Giving Conference for fundraisers and professional advisors. Lauren's talk entitled From Generation to Generation, L'Adore Vador, Understanding Family Dynamics and Planned Giving. She shared her expertise on how generational perspectives, values, and life cycle stages influence planned giving and how family communication about money can be important drivers. And speaking of Lauren, the past presidents of the foundation were pleased to host a festive luncheon in celebration of her 18th high anniversary as executive director of the foundation this August. Thank you, Marilyn, for all your hard work and beautiful planning.
Thank you. It was beautiful. Last, but by no means least, the board and staff developed a new strategic plan for the foundation that will set its course for the next 3 years. The foundation has a 15-year history of serious investment in strategic thinking and disciplined employment of strategic planning that reinforces our standards of excellence while looking for opportunities for innovation. Under the guidance of our talented Vice President, Alana Mueller, and with the capable assistance of task force members Alice Jacks-Achtenberg, Faye Balk, Frank Lipsman, Linda Lyon, and Jeff Mallon, we engaged in full board and staff to develop a plan. Over several meetings, we explored the history of the Jewish Community Foundation, affirmed our mission, and brainstormed ideas for exploring its many opportunities. It is our hope and belief that with this strategic plan and the vigilant leadership of the foundation's board and staff, the JCF will meet with many, many future successes.
Now, next is the investment committee report. I would like to invite Brian Scharf, chair of the investment committee, to please give the report.
Thank you, Alice. I'll give a quick update on an overview of the markets and also what the general pools of the Jewish Community Foundation managed by Strategic Investment Group. So the S&P 500 is up 23.2% year to date and 20.4% annualized over the past 3 years through November 30th, 2021. This outpaces international equities, which are up 7.2% year to date and 10.2% annualized over the same 3-year period. The returns would have been better for both US and international equities had a new COVID variant not caused the markets to sell off in the last few days of November. The common pool is up 7.8% year to date and 10.5% annualized over 3 years versus the benchmark returns of 6.5% and 10.7% respectively. The long-term pool is up 11.9% year to date and 12.7% annualized over the past 3 years versus the benchmark returns of 10.7% and 13.5% respectively. The common and long-term pools are invested in using a diversified approach with a broad asset allocation to equities, fixed income, and hedge funds. We believe this is the best approach to protect against potential market volatility by using a variety of asset classes. It's also important to mention that Strategic Investment Group does not make broad changes to the asset allocation based on macro factors, but instead implements a steady approach, replacing managers and changing asset allocations at the margin. These pools of capital are not looking to beat the S&P 500 in any given year, but are looking to consistently beat the market over a full market cycle. The consistency over time should lead to success in these portfolios by maintaining a diversified approach. I hope this information is helpful to frame the investment approach of the Jewish Community Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you again, Brian, for your hard work and really conscientious monitoring our investments. We really appreciate having you in that position. Again, now, welcome to the representatives of our donor funds. One representative from each fund who is in attendance qualifies as a voting member of the foundation. The next order of business is the election of trustees and officers. I would like to call on the foundation's immediate past president and chair of the nominating committee, Irv Belzer, to give his report.
Thank you, Alice. I'm pleased to make this report on behalf of the nominating committee. First, we'd like to express our special appreciation to those individuals, Jeff Alpert, Lynn Intrater, who are term limited and both of whom have served as officers and committee chairs. Vic Bergman, currently serving as chair of the Gift Acceptance Committee. I was going to say who has moved to Cleveland, and Stephanie Kavanaugh and Carol Porter, who are completing their service on the Board of Trustees this year. We thank them for their long and devoted service to the foundation as they move on to other meaningful community work and life adventures. We'll miss you, but also look forward to your continued connection with the foundation for years to come. Tokens of our appreciation will be delivered to you, Jeff, Lynn, Stephanie, Carol, and Vic. We look forward to seeing you in person for future foundation events and celebrations. And Vic, we wish you much happiness in Cleveland, just a few houses away from grandkids. Thanks again for your service to the foundation and to the Jewish community. And now, before we present the nominations, let me first thank the members of this year's nominating committee. And these people, almost all, have served for 2 or 3 years on this committee, which is much appreciated. Diana Zorski, Joe Hersteiner, Rachel Krantz, Frank Lipsman, Lara Pabst, Brian Scharf, Joe Smuckler, Gary Weinberg, and this year Alice Jacks-Ochtenberg. The committee recommends the following currently serving trustees to serve an additional 3-year term of office ending in December 2024. Sandy Freed, Susan Himmelstein, Pam Cantor, Jim Klein, Linda Lyon, Bob Palin, and Catherine Singer. The committee also recommends the following nominees as new trustees of the foundation to serve a 3-year term of office, ending in December of 2024. Ace Allen, Carol Barnett, Michelle Goldsmith, Roseanne Rosen. The committee further recommends the following nominee as a new trustee of the foundation to serve for a 1-year term to complete the remaining term of resigning trustee Vic Bergman, ending in December 2022, and that's Louis Cohn. I now respectfully move that the members accept the report of the nominating committee and elect these nominees to serve as trustees of the Jewish Community Foundation for the terms stated.
Thank you so much, Irv. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Martha. It has been moved and seconded to accept the slate of trustees recommended by the nominating committee. All those in favor, please raise your hand by clicking the hand icon in the chat, or if you're on the phone, please unmute and say aye. Opposed, type nay in the chat, or if you're on the phone, say nay.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays?
Aye.
Great, the motion passes. Congratulations to all of you. Really, we're looking so forward to having these new members, and we're so glad the rest of you are here to stay. I now hereby adjourn the annual meeting of the members of the foundation and convene the annual meeting of the trustees of the foundation. Irv will give the nominating report, please.
Okay, now on behalf of the nominating committee, I submit the names of the following to serve as officers of the foundation for 2022. Frank Lipsman, President. Edward Goldstein, Vice President. David Goodman, Vice President. Jim Klein, Vice President. Linda Lyon, Vice President. Alana Mueller, Vice President. Bob Palin, Treasurer. Lauren Madelman Hoops, Secretary. Helene Lotman, Assistant Secretary. Alice, I now respectfully move that the trustees accept the report of the nominating committee and elect these nominees to serve as officers of the Jewish Community Foundation for the offices stated for the term of 1 year.
Thank you so much, Irv. Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Thanks, Martha. All those in favor, please raise your hand by clicking on the hand icon in the chat, or if you're on the phone, please unmute and say aye. Opposed, say nay in the chat, or if you're on the phone, say nay. The motion passes. If you unmuted, please remute. Thanks. Congratulations to all our officers, and thank you again, Irv, and thanks to the nominating committee. This was really a long, wonderful, thoughtful process because we were so fortunate to have the opportunity to fill a number of new vacancies. The business portion of our meeting is now adjourned. Tonight, we remember with appreciation the members of our foundation family who have passed away since our annual meeting last year. These generous individuals have left a legacy to the community and/or worked with the foundation to support their giving during their lifetimes. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, of blessed memory, wrote in his book, From Optimism to Hope, that acts of kindness never die. They linger in the memory, giving life to other acts in return. This year, the foundation lost a number of irreplaceable members whose acts of kindness among their many deeds, and many gifts will endure. They are Helen Cohn, Mary Davidson Cohn, Robert Cohn, Lacey Davis, Ann Fetterman, David Gerson, Herbert Gruenbaum, Edward Hates, Jeanette Carbank, Saul Koningsberg, Philip Kaufman, Meyer Lerner, Marjorie Lipsky, Josanna Offenbach, Gerald Rosenblum, Estelle Soslin, Katie Ann Border Tannenwall, Ruthie Tivell, Adeline Trempe, Susan Waskow. May their memories be for a blessing. In addition, we remember Ron Goldsmith, a long-serving board member, committee chair, officer, and president of the foundation from 2009 to 2012. Simply stated, Ron Goldsmith was a leader who acted and shared his vision, integrity, strength of character, and the ability to gain and hold the confidence of others in this Jewish community. Ron enhanced the Jewish Community Foundation in many ways, notably through the growth of our legacy fund and the cooperative effort with the Jewish Heritage Foundation. And for us, his great partnership with his wife, Susie, who led the foundation as executive director for over a decade. We know he'd be proud to see Michelle carrying on the family tradition of leadership as a new member of the foundation board. There were few important happenings in our community where Ron's counsel was not first sought. He spent hours learning, thinking, advising, and leading various Jewish organizations in our town on the issues and opportunities that confronted them. His paramount skill as a leader was his ability to navigate competing interests and negotiate agreements that have stood the test of time. So will his memory.
And now we come to that part of the program where we get to celebrate Alice, which is a great opportunity. I'm so glad to be able to do this. It's a pleasure having the task of talking about Alice. She's a close friend of ours for decades, but of course it doesn't take a lot of time with Alice to consider her a personal friend. Her authentic warmth and kindness make people feel close to her instantly. What's perhaps even more remarkable is that over time, those initial feelings from Alice of caring, concern, and perceptiveness just keep on growing. Alice's ability to relate to people, whether new or long-term friends, can make it seem that she's all about the warmth, empathy, and kindness, and she is about those traits. But if we want to get a real look at who Alice is and why she's been so successful as president of the Jewish Community Foundation, we must also look at her brightness, insights, and ability to anticipate people's needs and reactions. Knowing so many people so well doesn't hurt in that regard. Finally, as the good and experienced lawyer she is, Alice has the ability to consider the facts, apply the governing rules, and importantly, to apply her exceptional judgment and make a decision on the course of action, even when the choices present close calls.
We have talked a lot about Alice's interpersonal skills and her tremendous empathy, generosity, and caring when relating to people one-on-one. However, we cannot present a full picture of Alice without focusing on her family and community. As evidenced by her extensive volunteer experience, Alice is deeply committed to making a difference in the Kansas City Jewish and general communities. Before her 3 years as president of the JCF board, Alice served on the foundation board for 20 years, 11 of which were in the role of vice president. Also within the Jewish community, Alice is a past vice president of Midwest Center for Holocaust Education, never forgetting what her remarkable mother, Branya, and other family members went through in the Holocaust, or the life that the survivors built in this country. Alice also served as president of JCRB AJC and as vice president of budget and allocations for the Jewish Federation. In the general community, Alice is the past president of Planned Parenthood of Greater Kansas City and served twice as president of the Women Lawyers Association of Greater Kansas City. She has held numerous offices and served for years on the board of the Theater League of Missouri. In her professional career, prior to her recent retirement, she served for many years as an attorney within the Department of Labor And of course, she ended up running the solicitor's office for our region within the Department of Labor. She has also served as a court-appointed member of the committee to screen applicants for U.S. Magistrate for the Western District of Missouri.
Alice's husband, David, is also a close friend of ours for decades and is a noted civil rights scholar and just retired exceptional professor at UMKC Law School. Though somehow, despite retirement, he continues to teach a couple of classes, to which I say, lucky law students. Alice and David have two daughters, Miriam and Rebecca, who are on this Zoom call. Miriam and her husband, Dr. Michael Morse, who's on the call as well, live in Washington, D.C. and have two children, Yoni and Ileana. Miriam is in House Counsel for the Holocaust Museum. Rebecca, an accomplished professional opera singer, who is also on this Zoom call with Rayleigh, her wife, lives with Rayleigh in Bloomington, Indiana. Between the grandkids and the opera performances, Alice and David have had some wonderful travel and family visits lately and have prospects of even more going forward.
To sum up, we are going to borrow a quote that Marilyn Birnbaum found when writing her own tribute to Alice. The quote from Rabbi Jonathan Sachs is this: "To be a leader, you do not need a crown or robes of office. All you need to do is write your chapter in the story, do deeds that heal some of the pain in the world, and act so others become a lot better for having known you." Marilyn went on to tell Alice, "You are a leader every single day. Each chapter you write reflects your deep intelligence, your humility, your compassion, and most of all, your incredible kindness. Your deeds brighten our world. Your acts make us all more than better. Thank you for all you do and for all you are."
We couldn't possibly say it any better than Rabbi Sachs and Marilyn did. The only thing we could possibly add is that it's appropriate to celebrate Alice in a setting where there's an abundance of food. She's famous for sharing food with those around her. As president of Jewish Community Foundation, Alice regularly attended staff meetings so that she would, one, have a good sense of what was going on, and two, support the staff as only she can. That in itself was extraordinary. But the other thing about it is that she never failed to bring food to those meetings. It's a symbol of who she is. Thank you, Alice, and congratulations on a job extremely well done.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Don't make me
Again,
cry. Don't make me
I will
cry
try
anymore.
She's crying.
Congratulations to Alice on completing your outstanding service as president of the foundation. You have been a delight to work with. You are thoughtful, kind, supportive, always bringing a fresh and valuable perspective to every opportunity and challenge. Both the foundation and the larger community have been truly blessed to have your leadership. You are a wonderful role model to all volunteers, striking a wonderful balance between devoted engagement and respect for professionals' experience, creativity, and humanity, and appetite for snacks. It has been a true partnership for which I will always be very grateful, and I am looking forward to our continued friendship as we move into the future. So in appreciation for your long, illustrious history of service and leadership to the foundation, it's my honor to present you with a few gifts, including an honorary staff badge for attending almost as many staff meetings as staff have in the 3 years that you've been
I love
with
that.
us.
Thank you.
Yes. And now, as a special treat for Alice, here are her wonderful and talented daughter, Rebecca, and daughter-in-law, Rayleigh, in a musical tribute singing Songs My Mother Taught Me by Antonin Dvorak.
Aren't they wonderful? Not only did you all, your beautiful words bring tears to my eyes, but listening to my girls sing too, they're just fabulous. Thank you, everybody, really, for your beautiful comments. Irv and Sue, you're such good friends. Our lives and our community have been enriched by you. The two of you give so much of your time and talent and have been instrumental in steering so many nonprofits to become effective and meaningful organizations. Thank you for sharing tonight and for everything you do. Because of the talented, organized, collaborative, hardworking, and kind people who work for JCF, my past 3 years as president have been filled with interesting work and much joy. Stan Bushman was so right when he told me that this is the best job a person could have. I just want to remember a few of the many things, the many team's hard work and board participation during my term. The foundation grew from $245 million to about $284 million during the last 3 years. Because of the work of Irv and the team did, and what the team did before, we received the Excellence and Impact Award from Nonprofit Connect. The next year, we received their Silver Award for our innovative and beautiful annual report. We initiated a focus group of professional advisors that determined ways to increase JCF's visibility. We learned a lot from that event. Subsequently, a luncheon with a prominent speaker was scheduled with professional advisors. At the start of the pandemic, we shifted from campus to home offices and never missed a beat. All of you stepped up in 2020. Fund holders contributed $936,000 in direct COVID relief, as well as approximately $28 million in normal granting. All these grants were accomplished without a hitch through a lot of hard work by our professionals who devised a new system for processing grants. We continually updated our database to make certain all our community partners have information on the legacy gifts they received through Creative Jewish Legacy and the Bushman Community Endowment. Lauren, on many occasions, continued her role as one of the regional experts on planned giving, including providing training to both local and national organizations. The beautiful donor wall and much video has been created at the campus and is just waiting for our return to have its unveiling. J-Lead built a strong cadre of new members, and we continued our very successful Connecting Our Giving community events, this time virtually. We learned, adapted, and are more committed than ever to strengthening our community through the practice of tzedakah and the pursuit of tikkun olam. I hope you will indulge me for a few minutes as I tell you a little about all of our professionals who make our foundation so extraordinary. As you'll be able to tell, they are the real reason this evening's theme is kindness. And I would like to thank them for all they do for the foundation, and especially for all you have done for me. Liz Matthews works part-time so quietly behind the scenes in the accounting department that you might not know this skilled CPA. She not only works on our data, but is always so willing to help with any request or new idea. The JCF gift cards work well because of Liz. She is truly kind and a patient person. Tracy Holly, our creative and innovative legacy stewardship manager, is someone who makes every event fun that she plans. They're also meaningful and effective. Tracy finds a joy in everything and then kindly shares it with all of us. Not only is she a great employee, but she also can create the best birthday quizzes I've ever seen. Antoinette Wells, JCF's amazing administrative services manager, is such a lovely person and is excellent at everything asked of her. She's the face of JCF. Most of you have heard her kind voice or seen her smile, and thus immediately felt welcome at JCF. Even while earning straight A's, completing a college degree, and raising two wonderful children, Antoinette is never ruffled and always there to help with every project. Roberta Galler, our outstanding grants manager and a wonderful friend to all of us and to so many of our donors. She has her finger on the pulse of the community and shares that information with us. When people are making grants, her kindness and caring for each donor's needs exemplifies the foundation's purpose. Her great ideas add a welcome and different perspective to many strategic discussions. Brooke Hardy, and you all should thank her for that beautiful chocolate you got. Director of Communications, brings elegance and grace to and she's kind, everything she does. She is kind and patient and yet driven to make everything perfect. Brooke's creativity guides all of our communications, keeping them fresh and forward-looking. Her innovative marketing ideas and wonderful personal interactions makes everything flow beautifully. Beatrice Fine, Director of Grant Making. I knew Bea first when I was chair of grants and appreciated how well prepared, how organized and exceptional she was. She is committed to fostering the viability of our community. She's the perfect philanthropic matchmaker, helping to connect agencies with interest members of our donor community. Her kindness and loving manner with donors and the B'nai Zedek members help this next generation of philanthropists feel the true joy of giving. Josh Stein, Director of Philanthropy, possesses some of the best people skills I have seen. He is kind and always has an encouraging word for everyone. Josh deflects any praise he receives by emphasizing the work of all those who played a part in the endeavor. His knowledge of the community, the respect he has earned from everyone who knows him, his thorough understanding of JCF's activities, and his deep commitment to its goals makes him a truly remarkable professional. Kevin Taylor is the consummate Chief Financial Officer. He is thoughtful, anticipates any need, and has a wonderfully dry sense of humor. All of us rely on his exceptional skill, judgment, and commitment. Under his guidance, our audits are always squeaky clean. Anyone who interacts with Kevin respects him and knows how kind, generous, and unjustifiably humble he is. Kevin is always there whenever we need to analyze a problem and always provides excellent advice. Okay, Lauren, come back.
I'm back.
Okay. Lauren Hope's our executive director. As anyone who has had an opportunity to work with her knows, she's kind, brilliant, well-spoken, and innovative. She is respected both locally and nationally and always ahead of any trend or movement which would affect the foundation. We all rely on her breadth of knowledge and her wise and informed advice. But just as important to me, if not more so, is her total commitment to the foundation and to our employees. In every decision, she considers how the foundation's future will be affected by the result, and she always seeks ways to make the foundation stronger and more sustainable. As president, I was welcomed into the Tuesday morning staff meetings. There I saw how Lauren encouraged each person to grow, learn, and lead. Everyone's ideas were shared and analyzed. Because she cared so deeply about the team, everyone felt comfortable being part of the process. The collaborative atmosphere she fostered made each initiative stronger and better. Lauren is truly a gifted leader. Lauren, we spent so much time together by either phone, text, or email, and even sometimes in person, like tonight, that I know you made me a better president. But more important, I feel grateful for you because you have become a dear friend, and that is one of the best gifts I could ever receive. Thank you. I can't end without thanking David, my partner in life and in love. He has always encouraged me, nurtured me, and advised me about everything important. Most of what I am today, I owe to his constant love and support. Our 45 years of marriage have been a joyful journey. And our daughters, Miriam and Rebecca, are a constant blessing. Each day, each of them bring joy to our lives, and by their wise choices, our families have now grown to include Miriam's husband, Michael, Rebecca's wife, Rayleigh, and Miriam Mike's wonderful children, Yoni and Ellie. My mother, Brunya, taught me and my sisters, Judy and Beverly, and my brother, Walter, that life means nothing without kindness and love. She was right. It's now my privilege to introduce our new president, Mr. Frank Lipsman. Frank is an amazing leader throughout our community. He's been on our board since 2008 and a vice president for the last 8 years. Frank has been an active member of most JCF committees and is a past chair of the Community Legacy Fund Grants Committee and Strategic Planning Committee. Frank has a well-rounded understanding of our work and has been a stalwart supporter of our mission of promoting charitable giving, which strengthens our community today and into the future. Frank's leadership in the Jewish community is well known. It might be easier, frankly, to list the organizations which he has not shared rather than those he has. Frank is the past president of the J, the Jewish Heritage Foundation, and JCRB AJC, and until July, the current president of Village Shalom. Frank has also served as the chair of Gilda's Club. Frank is also a distinguished professional. He's practiced law in Kansas City since 1984, and besides being an excellent litigator, he now practices as a skilled mediator, helping clients resolve disputes through active listening and thoughtful problem solving. Frank is also a volunteer mediator for the Johnson County court system. Frank's thoughtful style and keen intelligence is what has made him such a superb leader. Frank and his wife, Janet, who serves as vice president of development for the Kaufman Center, have 2 children, Jacob and Danielle. Jacob, his wife, Rachel, and their 2 children, Murray and Celia Rose, live in New Orleans. Danielle and her wife, Fiona, almost newlyweds, live in San Francisco. As you've already heard, we are so fortunate to have Frank as our new president. I give you Frank.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Alice. And thank you to all of you who honor JCF by participating in this annual meeting. I feel very fortunate to share with you tonight my thoughts about the work of JCF and why I feel so privileged to serve as the board president. As Lauren mentioned, this year, the Jewish Community Foundation completed a new strategic plan. And in that plan, the board agreed that we should focus on 5 strategic imperatives. Now, all 5 of those imperatives are important, but I think that the order in which we selected those imperatives are telling and meaningful. The first imperative, inspire philanthropy. The second imperative, encourage impactful grant making. The other 3 imperatives will help us operate properly, but the reason I am excited to lead JCF is because the essence of this organization is contained in those first 2 imperatives: inspire philanthropy and be impactful. Like many of you, I have had opportunities to volunteer for a number of organizations in our community. Each and every one serves a unique and critical purpose and impacts the lives and well-being of virtually everyone we know and love. But at JCF, we are entrusted with the privilege of inspiring philanthropy and showing the way to positively impact our community. Those are our primary imperatives. We are fortunate to be part of a city and a Jewish community that values tikkun olam, repairing the world. Many Jewish agencies would find it difficult to survive without the generosity of many of you in attendance tonight. Soon, we will witness an extraordinary transfer of wealth from one generation to the next. And in some respects, it will be the responsibility of the leaders of the Jewish Community Foundation to inspire this new generation of philanthropists and provide them the tools to ensure that the funding they provide will be as impactful as possible. Because at its core, it is not just the organizations that prosper when we inspire philanthropy. Tikkun olam protects the people that depend on those organizations, the disadvantaged who rely on the JFS food pantry, the residents of Village Shalom who depend upon the expertise of its professionals to provide the greatest protection possible when a pandemic envelops our world. Jews who depend on JCRB AJC to identify anti-Semitism and racism and mobilize forces to educate us and call out bad actors. Our Jewish community is the common thread that binds each of us to the great work of these and other agencies and organizations. Thanks to the extraordinary leadership of Lauren Hoops and the caring and wonderfully capable staff of JCF, we can continue to be a force to inspire philanthropy and ensure that the organizations that benefit our community will continue to thrive. It is my honor to follow in the footsteps of Alice Jacks Ochtenberg, who proves the theory that those who put kindness first can be the best of leaders. While she leads with intelligence and insight, I believe the reason she has been so successful as president of this board and has inspired the staff of JCF to achieve so much is that she always has a kind word and a reassuring smile for everyone. We all go the extra mile for Alice. I want to also thank Irv and Sue for chairing tonight's program. I think I met Irv the first day I came to Kansas City almost 40 years ago. He was a mentor to me in my law career, and both Irv and Sue have inspired me to remain active in our community, both Jewish and secular. I've been able to work closely with both Irv and Alice during their presidencies, and I hope I will be able to protect the legacy they have created here. Perhaps my most important inspiration continues to be my family. Janet and I try to be thoughtful and impactful with our philanthropy and volunteerism, and it's always our goal to try to leave the world a better place for our children and grandchildren. I'm happy to report that all of our children, Jacob and Rachel, and Danielle and Fiona, have opened donor-advised funds, either here or in their home community. And I can't wait to see how they and the upcoming group of philanthropists will impact their communities. Thank you all for being here tonight and for supporting the Jewish Community Foundation. Thank you for helping us celebrate the power of kindness. The Jewish Community Foundation is honored to be your philanthropic partner and to work together with you and your families to make a positive impact on the world through generosity and kindness. The meeting is now adjourned. And although we will be keeping the Zoom meeting open for just a bit, please feel free to stay on if you'd like to visit with one another. If not, thank you for coming and have a good evening.